Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to my channel. This is a channel about the things I get up to in my craft room, and this month I have cross stitch, quilting, crochet, and a little bit of embroidery to share with you. Today is Thursday, July 30th, 2026, so a warm welcome to new and returning viewers. So this is the fourth time I've started this video because for some reason I just can't seem to get it together, so I think I'm just going to read from my notes and it'll be a little bit more cohesive for all of us. So let's start with cross stitch. I'm going to go cross stitch, sewing, quilting, and crochet, so depending on what you're interested in, you can skip ahead if you like. So I've done I have two small fully finishes to show you this time, and I have two works in progress. So my first finish is I turn into a small pillow. It's called Flowers All Around, and it is from the Snowflower Diaries, and that's on her Patreon. This was the small chart available this month. So as soon as it came out, I knew I wanted to stitch it. I loved all the bright colors. And it was just fun. So the Snowflower Diaries, that was a Patreon that I didn't anticipate liking as much as I do. And this past month I've actually gone through and I've canceled my membership to most of my Patreon just because, not because they weren't fabulous, but because, you know, it does add up and I also have a lot of things to stitch. But Maya of the Snowflower Diaries, she's got some gorgeous fall charts and I really want to stitch them, and especially this last one that came out. Like now I'm really anxious to see what's coming next. So I'll show you the cover page for that. It's called Forest Whisperers and it's so pretty. So I'm thinking this is definitely going to be in my future. But again, it's a fun Patreon to be on. So I had won an embroidery bundle, and Maya of the Snowflower Diaries, she has, it's not cross stitch, it's just embroidery. So she had this lovely cottage picture in there surrounded by flowers, and I'd like to embroider that, but she also said that she was going to release that as a cross stitch as well. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, definitely a fun Patreon to be in. So I think I've canceled all of my memberships except for Snowflower Diaries and Vintage Tulip. So I'm hoping next month I can show you some work in progress from some of her charts because they're just lovely too. So my next fully finish is one of the Pears, Anjou Pears, and this is my finish. So I didn't have the called for flosses. So this is, I believe it's Cognac from Weeks Dye Works. And then I just used some leftover fig tree fabrics from a quilt I put together last year. So a fun stitch. I mean, it was really like 2 evenings at the most, pretty easy to put together. Now I did have to enlarge the pattern template for the pear because I used 32 count and not 46 count. I think I ended up on 120%, maybe, yeah, between 120 and 125% enlargement on it, and I think it turned out okay. Yeah, it was pretty easy to put together. So I thought initially that I would stitch all 3 in these fall colors, but after thinking about it, I really just want one fall pear because I do have a lot of fall decorations. However, I will stitch more of this pattern because I did look at all of the patterns available for the pears at my local needlework shop, and I like this one the best of all the motifs. And I mean, I plan on stitching this in different colors and it'll look totally different. So I just liked all of these designs of the pears the best. So next up I might do blue ones. We'll see. But it was fun, and they're super quick. I thought it would be a lot more involved than it was, but it really isn't. Okay, and then I worked on 2 things. So I'm continuing to work on Summer in a Cup. And the last time we chatted, I had finished this cup. I had just started this cup, and I'm probably part of the cartouche there. So here's my progress. So I completed this cup, and the white daisies they show up in real life. They just don't show up on camera very well. But I finished that. There's a lot of stitching in that cup. So I've got those 2. I mostly finished this cartouche. I just have to do a little bit of back stitching and the cherries there. These dots are supposed to be white floss. I'm going to do them the same blue as this. And you can see in the picture most of the letters except for the capital letters are white, but I decided just to do them in the blue. I did that for my Autumn in a Cup too, just so that you could see it better. So I've started the next one next to there, and that's what that looks like. So my hope is to complete this in August, and I don't know, maybe I can get another one done in September, because September up until the 21st is still technically summer. But we'll see. It is a lot of fun to stitch on. There's not a lot of colors. It's pretty easy. I don't know. Well, this is a Zweigart. This is a lovely even weave to stitch on, so it makes it even easier. But that's where we are for that. And then I also worked a little bit more on my L'Oiseau Bleu. So that's that chart here. And this is, I linked the shop in my last video. So I have a little bit more progress with this one. So we have most of a bird and a couple of the other motifs. So it's been fun to work on too. It's just the summer cup is what, or this, yeah, the summer teacups have just really been, you know, getting the most of my attention lately. And so, yeah, so plans, because summer's not coming to an end. But I am feeling the little hint of fall. I don't know if it's the weather. I noticed some leaves are changing here, but I'm thinking it's just because of that heat wave that we had and not because fall is really coming, because that would be too early. So one thing I want to start for sure, and that's this week, is my daughter's birthday. And so I've been wanting to start this on her birthday forever. I bought it on her birthday almost 10 years ago. So I really want to start this, and I'm using, I don't have the, oh, what are the threads? There's some kind of special thread. Not wildflowers. Anyway, I don't have them. So I'm just doing, I just looked up the DMC conversion online, and so I'm doing that. And I like the colors. They're nice greens and everything. So I've got my fabric cut, and I got, you know, the threads picked that I'm going to start with. So this is, I'll be starting this probably Saturday, Sunday. And yeah, I mean, there's a million things I'd love to start, you know, like this. Plus she has another one that came out like 1 or 2 months ago that's also very kind of fall looking. There's a lot of fruit and some birds. I wouldn't mind trying that, but I have so much stuff. So I wrote out all of my whips in a new notebook, and I'm not even going to tell you what the count is because it's horrendous. And I would really like to work on some of those because I love them all. I mean, there wasn't one in there I wanted to give up on. So Celtic Summer is going to be a new start for me, and we're just going to try to work on some other things. We shall see. So in the vein of stitching, so this is this is embroidery. So I'm working on, this is called Twilight Garden. These are embroidery patterns from Crabapple Hill. And I'm going to do just a mini version of this quilt. I'm going to do 5 embroidered blocks and 4 quilted blocks. So I started with this one. And this is how it turned out. So this is using mostly Cosmo embroidery floss. I thought it turned out okay. Now, because of the thread is variegated, I mean, it's never going to look like the original. I mean, plus just with resolution and everything, things never totally look the same. But it's not as blue as the picture shows, but I think it's still okay. And I mean, once it's surrounded by other quilted blocks that have like a lot of blue fabric in, I think it'll really like pull the blues out of the coloring and the embroidery floss, so I think that'll be fine. So this was easier than I thought it would be. This took an afternoon, and what can I say? It's pretty much mostly backstitch, and this one was Lazy Daisies were the specialty stitches. Oh, and a buttonhole stitch. So I'm looking forward to working on the next one. I was really hoping to have 2 completed this month, but I just didn't get a chance to get to it, but that's okay. I've been working on a bunch of other things too. So I have 2 small sewing projects to share before I get to quilting. So these 2 are gifts, and oh, I don't know if she can hear me or not, but anyway, so my daughter has gotten back into cross stitching, and so she needs a project bag. So I made this for her the other day, and the cute little pull, and then look at the inside. I love that. So this is housing this because she loves Halloween, so I thought that would be fun to go in there. And then there's just a few other things every stitcher needs. So we've got those, and we have some of those, and a cute little needle minder I made, and then just an assortment of needles. So yeah, now she's gonna have her own. And then I made another one, and then this is for her knitting. So this is quite big. She really liked this when we saw it at a quilt show. Anyway, so we bought the panel and made the bag. And it just has a green lining in there, and it's gonna hold some thicker. So those were fun little kind of palette cleansers, because I have been doing some quilting. So I have 2 finished quilts to show. I think I'm going to have to move my chair. So just do like a quick quilty update. So I did a whip parade in, when was it? June? No, in May. So in May I did a quilt whip parade, and I had 23 whips. I was like, wow, that's a lot. So since my quilty whip parade, I've fully finished 6 quilts. And how many of those? I think 4 of those have been gifts. So I finished 1 in May, 2 in June, and 3 in July. And I showed the first one I finished in July in my last video, so that was the Edelweiss quilt. So the next one I finished was Stomping Ground, and this is a quilt from Wendy Sheppard. Let's see. So here's what we have. So I used all stash fabrics, and I wanted to do just the grays and blues and do the florals. So it's not huge. It's not huge. This is probably one of the quicker quilts that I've made. And I didn't even chain piece this one. So you could chain piece it. I just found I was worried that I was going to mix up pieces from block to block. So I didn't chain piece, but if you did, it would go even quicker, which is nice. So they've got, so there's some elephants facing one way, and then there's a couple that face the opposite way. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah. So there were no instructions for the reversed blocks, which I thought was weird because in the pattern preview, it's just like this. So you've got both. So I felt like there should have been instructions for both. It said it was quilter's choice, but like I said, the pattern preview showed the two elephants, so, or the reverse image. So what I did is, to do the reversed ones, I took a block that I finished already and I turned it backwards and I pinned it on my bulletin board so that as I was sewing I could, you know, put it together in reverse, because I couldn't just, like, my brain couldn't handle that on its own. I had to have a visual. Other than that, I think that's my only complaint about the pattern. I do have other quilt patterns from other designers where there is a mirror image block and they do include the instructions how, you know, to do that. So I thought this should have been included, but anyway. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. I thought it turned out super cute. Just a couple more close-ups here. But yeah, lots of fun with this one. I like this guy. It's like, I don't know, like a 1980s couch or something. So that was the second finish of July. And then the third finish, so this has been my favorite so far. This has been the most fun quilt I think I've ever made. It's small though, so I wish I had added extra borders because it's only, I think it's 52 by 52. So I mean, it's a lap size, which is what it's intended for. It's a small lap size. So this is Cats in Space from Elizabeth Hartman, and I think I was just starting to put blocks together last time. Let's see. So, oh my gosh, like, look at his little face. But I'll stand up. So it'd be better if I was standing back. Here. I'm gonna pause you. Okay. I think this will be better. There we go. So isn't it sweet? And then you have the little one upside down, doing his own thing. So yeah, I just love this one. And I mixed up all of the stars. So in the pattern, all of the stars that were around one cat were all the same colorway, but I just wanted it to be mixed up all around. And I love my background fabric with all of the little stars on there. And then I just did a swirly free motion embroidery, as you can see, and sometimes I actually managed to get a star in there. But again, look at his little face. So I used mostly, not mostly, then there's only 4 cats here. So 3 of the cats are batiks. But yeah, also pretty much pulled everything from stash for this one. And then I just used a cozy flannel for the backing, which is picking up every single piece of lint and thread around the house. So I feel like this quilt needs to come with a lint roller. So yeah, Cats in Space. So, that many quilts being finished in kind of a short period of time, I am more than ready to take a little bit of a break. So I'm just going to work on some smaller things. So yesterday I did start cutting out I haven't cut out the fabric. I traced onto fusible webbing. I traced all of the pattern shapes for this one. Mine will look a little bit different. Like my background, I want it to be it's like a dark tealy blue because I want it to look like a window at night. And I want my candles to be red, and I'm still deciding on the poinsettias if I want to do pink or white. But yeah, this is the next thing that I'm going to work on. It's a little bit smaller. Yeah, we'll just take a little bit of a break from quilting. I think I got this at the thrift store too, I'm not sure. And so that's been all of my sewing adventures for the month. And let's see, make sure I've mentioned everything. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about crochet. I've been having a lot of fun with that too. So I started, I started with my granny squares first. So I'm making a whole bunch of floral granny squares in different colors. And this past month, my colors were like peachy orange. So I do 18 of each color set. So I did 9 blocks like this and 9 blocks like this. So I got, this takes about, I don't know, 6 or 7 days to do all of these. So I did 17 and then I ran out of white. So I've ordered some from Mary Maxim, but with my order I had a couple of crochet kits and one of them is missing. The yarn has been back ordered, so they're not going to send my entire order until the back ordered yarn for the kit is available, and it doesn't say when, so I have no idea when I'm going to get back to the next color, because in August I would have started either the purple or the yellow blocks, but I just don't know if I'm going to have the yarn. So to keep myself busy, I decided I wanted to make a summer top. I've had this pink yarn in my stash forever, and I've started making like 4 things from it, and then I rip it out because it's not right. So finally I just pick something and use the yarn and just deal with it. So I chose this top. It's called the Swift top, and it's by Camilla Magnussen. It is, I believe, a paid for pattern. It was very easy. So this took me 6 days to make. I didn't do it, 6 days in a row. It was 6 days over probably 3 weeks. But yeah, super easy. This is what it looks like. It's got a nice finished edge on it. Very easy stitch pattern. You do from basically, and the back is up higher than the front. So up to here, you really do need to pay attention. But the instructions are very, very good. So, yeah, so I liked it so much that I started another one. And so the next one, I'm using this yarn, which is a cotton, silk, nylon, and linen. Very nice. I got a whole bunch of this at the thrift store a couple years ago. And so this is where I am on this one. I'm at the point now where I can just do the body. So probably about 3 or 4 days of working on that, and I'll have another one. And that kind of goes nicely with I was doing other crafty things too. So here's my button bracelet. I saw something like this on Etsy and I thought I wanted to make my own. So there, and then I made cute little button earrings too. anyway, I had to show that. Yeah, so those are my summer tops. After I made this top, I made a winter sweater. This is called the Sienna sweater by Ruby Webbs, and I'll pause it and I'll put it on. This uses Caron marble cakes, I believe, and yeah, that's it. So here, I'm just pause you and then I can put that on. Okay, now I'm gonna roast. I have two sweaters on. But this is the sweater. This also took 6 days to make, which totally impressed me. Now, one of those days I was on an airplane and I had like 4 hours to just crochet, so I got a lot done. But this is the finished sweater. So I'm quite pleased with that. I do need to stretch the sleeves when I block it, but it's got front post, back post for the ribbing on the top and the bottom. And I like the way that the stripes worked out. I did do a lot less rows on the neck because it was just going to be so huge, but I think in the original pattern her yarn was a lot drapier, so it would just fall drape better. So like I said, these are the Caron marble cakes, so it is a worsted. It's not a light worsted, it's, you know, a true worsted, or maybe not even on the heavier side, but so it is a bit stiffer. So I cut a bunch of rows out of this. I would totally make this pattern again. What else can I say? The only thing is, it was a bit, where you started is a bit high. It's actually up here, so sometimes it does a funny thing here. So I would make my chain a little bit bigger so it actually sat more here and not up farther. But I am totally happy with it because I love the colors, and this hardly used any of the Caron cakes. I used 2 full cakes and a teeny tiny portion of a third, so I have almost 2 full cakes left over. So I've just I've given that to my daughter. She says she can use it for something, and that's great because I don't like leftovers. So yeah, there we have that. So that's the Sienna sweater by Ruby Webbs, and she's on Etsy. I don't think she's on Ravelry. So yeah, that's my woolly mix. And that's it for the month, which again was a lot. And I'm just gonna continue hooking and sewing and doing all the things that I like to do. Yeah. Hopefully my yarn will come in and I can get my next set of granny squares completed and get a start on some Christmas gifts, because the kits that are coming, one of them is going to be a Christmas gift, so I'd like to get started on that. Never too early to think about it. I didn't do anything for Christmas in July across any of my crafts. I don't like thinking of Christmas in July. I prefer to think of in like October, November, when I decide, hey, everybody needs a blanket this year, but we'll see. I try to get better. Anyway, that's it for me today. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for your comments. If you did like this video, can you please give me a thumbs up? That would be great, and more people can see it. Other than that, happy making, and I should be back in a month or so. And yeah, with a whole bunch of new fun things to share. Anyway, thanks for visiting. Happy days, friends.